All right.
All right, we're live. Sergio?
Well, yes, sir. We're back on Show Me the Money Club, another episode with wonderful guests today. Today we're really honored to have David Seligman, Ben Valdez, Nicole Moore, and Rachel Dempsey. Ben Valdez is the plaintiff on the latest antitrust lawsuit that David Seligman and Rachel Dempsey are counsel for, and Nicole Moore, an old friend from 4 years or 44 years ago. She's the head of RDU, Rideshare Drivers United, a local-based group with, are you guys up to 15,000 members yet, Nicole?
20K.
20K, there we go. Okay. So, today we're all here to discuss, more than discuss actually, to get information on this latest lawsuit, the antitrust lawsuit against Uber and Lyft. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around the clock. Actually, first we'll do the legal counsel introduce themselves, and then Ben and Nicole a short introduction, and then we'll get into to hearing what they have to say. So, David and Rachel, go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Hi. Thanks so much for having us, Sergio and Chris. I'm David Seligman. I'm an attorney and the executive director of Towards Justice. We're a nonprofit legal organization that litigates on behalf of workers.
And I am Rachel Dempsey. I'm a staff attorney also at Towards Justice.
Wonderful. And Ben and Nicole, go ahead.
So I'm Ben Valdez. I'm a rideshare driver for both Uber and Lyft. Just over 10,000 rides, and I've been driving since 2015.
Right. I'm Nicole Moore. I'm a part-time driver and one of the founders of Rideshare Drivers United and currently the president. And I'm hoping to be a class in this lawsuit at some point.
Yes. Well, Chris has put, I think, the link on the show notes as far as who has information or can join when this becomes a class. But before that, let's, David, can you explain what the suit is about?
Sure. Thanks, Sergio. We are representing 3 drivers, including Ben, in bringing a proposed class action lawsuit in California. And those drivers are seeking to represent a class of all drivers in California who have opted out of Uber's and Lyft's arbitration clauses. So to Nicole's point about being hoping to be a class member here, we'll talk more. Rachel will talk a little bit more about what people's rights are and what they should know if they think that they are a potential class member if the case proceeds and proceeds as a class action. But just to give a brief overview of what the case is and what it's about, the core of this case is the argument that Uber and Lyft can't have it both ways. So they can't on the one hand deny their workers the benefits of employee status like minimum wage and all the other protections without also giving them the autonomy and independence that the antitrust laws require to be extended to independent contractors. For example, it is per se illegal, we allege, under California law for Uber and Lyft to fix prices that are charged to riders across the platforms, to deny their drivers the flexibility and autonomy to set prices for themselves. That is, we allege, a per se violation of the antitrust laws, California antitrust law. In addition, we allege that various of Uber's and Lyft's practices are illegal under as being unfair and deceptive. So, for example, we allege that Uber's and Lyft's failure to provide drivers with information about the destination of rides, information that's not conditioned on a certain minimum acceptance rate, for example, but their failure to provide information about the destination of rides in advance of accepting a ride is illegal. We allege that their practice of extending secret, bonuses and payments to some drivers and not to others is illegal. With respect to many of these practices, of course, the companies would be permitted to engage in them, perhaps, if their drivers were employees, right? So a company can say, for example, what prices must be charged to customers by employees. That's something that companies do, all the time. They deny their employees the autonomy and independence to set prices for themselves. But we say that companies can't, on the one hand, deny their drivers the benefits of employee status, while at the same time not providing to them the independence and flexibility to make those kinds of decisions on their own.
Great. Rachel, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I think David summed it up pretty well.
Okay. So Nicole, I've known you for a while, right? And I've done a few pieces actually on the RDU. I've even gone to a couple of your demonstrations actually. But I mean, they were awesome. And then the pandemic came. Obviously, rideshare kind of went away. But now it's back in full force again, right? So, but I know RDU's starting point with a couple hundred people. And now you just said, you guys are up to 20,000. Are all 20,000 members drivers, by the way, or like delivery drivers and rideshare drivers?
Yeah, I mean, the majority of us are rideshare drivers. I will say that a lot of people stopped driving during the pandemic, right? Because the risk was too high. And there, at the beginning, when the shutdown, there were no rides to pick up. So that's kind of, so 20,000, those people are people who at least have driven since you and I met, Sergio. And there's a lot of new drivers coming in right now, just kind of flooding the streets and brand new because the economy sucks and everybody's having a hard time paying for groceries. So people are like trying to pick up some extra hours with driving. And, we know that in order for us to change the conditions that drivers are working under, we have to be the majority of drivers. And so, we're always working to pull new people into the organization.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you on that. So I know what RDU stands for, but can you tell me a little bit more about what RDU members are thinking about this flexibility and freedom rhetoric, which I wrote about actually, ironically, it got published yesterday. And, flexibility and freedom is something that I honestly am not buying. But then, a lot of people are saying, look, whenever you can turn the app on and off, that gives you enough flexibility and freedom. But if I do it at 3 a.m, I'm not going to make any money. But if I do it at 7 a.m., I'm going to make $40 an hour. So to me, it's like, who cares about flexibility and freedom? If I turn, they make it sound like, turn the app on and go, and it's flexible and it's freedom. Well, I my last sentence of the article was there's nothing flexible or free in Uberland. But let me hear what you're thinking about that, Nicole, about the flexibility and freedom aspect and what your members are thinking about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think drivers, we need flexibility, whether it's to pick up our kids, whether it's to try to figure out how to work with another job, which is what I do, and, to be able to, take off the day or work a day or whatever. And, that's the only aspect of flexibility that we have right now. I mean, most of us, like Sergio, when you and I met 4 years ago, we could work half the hours we work today to make the same amount of money.
Yep.
So when I think about flexibility and the company saying, oh, we really want flexibility, what I feel like they're saying is they want the flexibility to pay us less and less money. And they're figuring out a lot of business strategies to do that. And I think, Prop 22 has been really hard on us because it basically set the floor of what they can pay us to below the basement. And, it's really hard. And many drivers, said, oh, well, this is good because of flexibility. But what we found out was that we actually lost flexibility after Prop 22 passed. None of us want to be employees. Employees sounds horrible. But the labor rights that come with employment would actually end up paying us more money, right?
Yeah.
And what I've learned over the last couple of years is that actually there's nothing in employment law and labor law that says we can't pick up when we need to. The company knows how to incentivize us to work. Like you said, if you work Friday, evening, you're going to make a whole lot more money than 3 a.m. on Tuesday. So you work when they're incentivizing you to work with bonuses and whatever else. That wouldn't change under labor law. There's no requirement for that to change. So,
Right.
I mean, that's kind of where we're at.
I mean,
People want flexibility. We all
Yeah.
need flexibility. We don't really have it when you have to work 60 or 70 hours a week just to pay the rent.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. But the other thing is, with Prop 22, they were supposed to come with a lot of protections against unjust deactivations and things like that. But there's not the space for it now. I think Prop 22 failed completely, to be honest with you. I agree with you. I don't know if your members agree with that or not. So, Ben, question for you. Why did you want to bring this case forward?
Basically, I've been a driver for the last 7 years now, and every single year, without fail, there's always been something that's changed. And it always amounts to drivers making less or having to work more. So, for that very reason, I just feel that a lot of drivers like myself are unable to talk or unable to, fight for their own rights. And I think it's enough is enough, and it's time to kind of press them for fair wages. And basically, if they're going to treat us like independent contractors, they need to treat us like independent contractors and not like employees and having hidden algorithms and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, I said that the other day. Remember, Chris? And now it became like a viral video. Actually, we just released a couple of days ago. Is